cannot work on these 220 AC volts. So I plugged it in. Boom! It was like explosion. It was a blast. The first reward.
Suspended.
That was my first reward actually. Suspension for 5 days. We are on a very strong path. Like on a scale through 1 to 10, we are above 8.5. Okay, we're almost touching 10. Somebody even thinks of doing something similar to Mumbai terror in our country, they'll be like chopped in a way the terrorists won't be able to imagine in their entire life. Even the new modern terrorism is far more dangerous. AI can do terrorism in a way no other weapon can harm you. So it's something non-lethal terrorism, right? You won't kill people. You're going to kill their minds. Success is not about being the best. It's about being consistent.
Long before the Russia-Ukraine war and the US-Iran war made drones a household name in terms of war fighting, this man knew what drones could do, not just on the battlefield, but in daily life too. Yes, I'm talking about Milind Raj, the man from Lucknow who now runs a 80 crore drone tech company from the Uttar Pradesh capital and calls himself a hands-on inventor disrupting the planet. Welcome to our studios, Milind. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me here.
You know, very interesting, and we will talk a lot about drones and technology and their uses in defense and what you're doing in terms of that. But your drone journey really started in school, where you were a very naughty kid and you were punished even a few times for blowing up things in the school, etc., etc. From that time, and talk to us about that, and from that time to now, when drones really are now considered essential in modern battlefields. How does that seem like what's that journey been like?
So, like in one sentence, if I say, my passion has turned into a profession. So, drones, specifically technology, I would say, was like that was my core interest. And since you have mentioned a lot of incidents, I just created in school, and oh, I was really so I used to do a lot of experiments during my school days, and this thing has inculcated probably when I was in primary school, second or third class. From that era, I would say, from that those school days, I used to always do a lot of experiments on technology. And see, I was a little kid that time, so I was not much aware about the physics, about the science behind it. It was just the attitude of getting anything, just get on that track and starts working. And now how you do it, I don't know the theoretical part, but I know the practical part, right? That jugaad thing. So, because of course, I mean, a child in class 3, you don't expect him to understand the complete physics of electronics. Yeah. So I started all these experiments, and then I remember in class 2, the first electric sharpener which I made. So, after the fourth period was break, the recess, and during that 15 minutes, I took out my novel innovation, because I used to believe pencil sharpener was a pretty old technology. I mean, back then. So, it's a manually operated thing. You hold a sharpener and the pencil, and they just you spin it around. So I disrupted it. I made it automated. I found a motor from some I think toy or something, and then I fixed it. But I didn't realize that a motor, the simple DC motor that works on a 3-volt DC supply. So when I got into my school after the fourth period, when everybody was out of the class, that was my peace time. Nobody around me. I can work on my experiments. I kept the novel innovation on the desk, and little did I realize that the motor that was working on 3-volt, that pencil cell, ghadi wala cell, what we say, cannot work on these 220 AC volts. So I plugged it in. Boom! It was like explosion. It was a blast. The first reward.
Suspended.
That was my first reward actually. Suspension for 5 days. I was pretty disappointed that it was just for 5 days. It should be like 10 days, maybe 15 days. I get more times. So that time when I used to work in this technology, I was nowhere planned to start a career in this, because it was my hobby. It was my passion.
Now, do you feel vindicated at any point today because you started doing this much before it became a battlefield buzzword, really?
Yeah, it is. Like now the Indian Army has laid out a 5-year roadmap, and they're calling it a BAS battalion, BAS the drone. So now I'm so happy to see like our defense system is has already entered rather has already entered into drone segment, and it's a beautiful PPP model where a lot of startups, participating in Indian defense, they're playing a very important and responsible role. And my actually the professional journey started when I met Dr. A.P.J. Abdul Kalam, sir. So now this, even I was awarded the title. So way back in December 23rd, 2014.
Yeah, and he called you the drone man of India in 2014. Imagine that was almost what, 12 years ago?
Probably 12 years, somewhere around.
How old were you?
So I was like around 20 something. Yeah.
When you said drones, like what?
The first question, what is a drone? The first question that people used to ask, what is this technology? And some people used to say, in fact, mass majority of the people used to reject your ideas. They used to call it that is a short failure thing. Why are you even wasting your time on this? I mean, why are you putting your energy? It's not an investment in any sense. But I've learned one thing, like success is not about being the best, it's about being consistent. So, and I have decided that I'm going to keep myself strictly into this technology. Even whatever happens in the coming years, I was not I was not bothered about it. The only thing that was very specific is that I have to build my skills in this sector. And if I will prove myself, I will create a market for it. I will create more young minds coming together on the same platform for it. And then this structure will change. After all, things change. Yeah.
And it has changed because now you're running a company worth crores in drone tech. But what is it that you're doing with the? And I'm starting with the defense piece because I know there are a lot of segues of drone tech and its users. Um, what is it that you're doing with the Indian Army? If you can sort of explain to us.
Right. So with the Indian Army, I am doing multiple things with them in this technology sector. One is the drone development sector. So I develop drones specifically built for a specific mission. It's not a a common platform where every machine is the same, serving the same purpose. No, there are in army. What I've learned, there are different scenarios. So I have my research labs for the army at high altitude, like 15,000 feet high. There, the operation of the machines completely changes. The dynamic is different. You face a very tough challenges with maintaining batteries in at that altitude, the temperature. Ladakh, Siachen, Bomdela, Tawang in Arunachal Pradesh, places most of us haven't heard of it, but we have army camps there. I'll tell you the Agniveers. I also teach them. I also mentor them. I mentor the Agniveers. My boys are one of the strongest drone pilots and drone developers who are the part of the Indian Army. So now what we are doing, we have completely form our own formation, which is indigenous, our own boys, our own army men, with the Agniveers I'm talking about. We develop drone, we develop strategic missions, and I teach them how to you make the best use of these machines as per the mission requirement. So we are working on high altitudes, we are working on low altitudes, I mean the normal altitudes, we are working on terrains, we are working on extreme climatic weather.
So when you say you're working with Agniveers, are you do you have labs set up in different parts of
Yes.
the country? Yeah.
Pan India, we have labs. We have labs of every sizes. We have even movable labs. So we have structures, like we have labs inside containers. So you can just like move it from one place to other. We have labs inside trucks. So some fine day there's an emergency, there's a war going on, the trucks are deployed, they're the mobile labs inside trucks. And we have also sky labs. Sky labs are the drones in itself. They carry essential equipment and you call them on a click of a button and they come and deliver the SOS technological items. So now there are two kind of emergencies. One is the medical emergency and one is the technological emergency. So this is something new has come up. And we are forming one of the strongest drone force in India. And that's a responsible thing, but I love it. Yeah.
Okay, that's fantastic. So how would you describe the attitude of the army towards drones right now? And when I say the army, I really mean the defense forces, because it's not just the army; it's army, navy, as well as the air force, which was
Right.
making use
The
of
military, of
drones.
course. Yeah. So now, not just army, in fact, the navy has also entered into drone technology. And every day, we do a lot of drone research every day, like 365 days. Somebody asked me, when do you take a holiday? There's no such thing as holiday. This is what we breathe. This is my oxygen. There's a lot of drone used by the Air Force to monitor the runways, to monitor the military Air Force stations, and primarily the army. That is the core, the core part of the military which is using the drone. And also in drones, there are three main segments which have been used. And as we see the Ukraine, what they're doing, you must have heard of Shahid drone, the Iran one, and the one the Israel are using, the US are using, and how they are also counter using them. I mean, they're anti-drone systems. So there's a drone and there's an anti-drone, because there might be 100 benefits of a drone, but there are 1,000 risk factors involved with this drone. So drones are good and bad in both the ways. So we need to have a defensive mechanism, and we also need to have an attack mechanism. Yeah, offensive. So defense and attack, both thing has to be in parallel. So we work on both.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you were to compare India's drone tech and adoption as well as tech itself with one of these countries, where would you rate us?
We are on a very strong path. Like on a scale through 1 to 10, what I see, because I've been working on the ground, I would say that we are above 8.5, almost touching 10. And there's a reason behind it, actually. We have a force that is very much interested in adopting technology. We have army commanders, our leaders, our top bosses, who are into extreme tech use. We have now we are seeing a new era of defense system. The wars are more in with technology, and those conventional war system is now coming to an end, right?
Yeah, nobody hears about tanks going into battle anymore.
No, so and one fine day, even Air Force will also see a disruption from those manned aircrafts to unmanned aircrafts, the drones, UAVs, unmanned air vehicles. So army is very aggressive in adopting technology. They're the way of working in army is like there's no right on left, straight bullseye headshot, koi confusion nahi, nothing. So, and that makes our country a very strong defense structure, right? And if you talk about Turkey, like if you remember in OP Sindoor, though we held Turkey during the earthquake, Mission Dosti, I think that was the one. And despite it was a betrayal, right? They held our neighboring country supplying the drones. So their drones were Assis Songard.
The Bakhtiar.
Yeah, the Bakhtiar, the Assis Songard. So we are far ahead than those machines. Right? Those are like nothing as per what we are now building. Now, next is about the cyber threats. The China is there looking for a tiny loop in our system where the cyber attack can happen, and drones, any technology is quite vulnerable to cyber attack. So we have plans for that, and we're doing really good.
You have said, I was reading one of your interviews, you've said that the drones designed by you possess a level of technological advancement that is enough to shatter the nefarious conspiracies of countries like China and Pakistan. And what you just said is that seems to be exactly that, right?
Right, exactly. So drones has to be secured. I mean, now the army also has laid down a guideline that we cannot rely on foreign drones. So we have some very good people making indigenous, components, because they can have black box. They can record data.
So are you working specifically with the army or through DRDO for procurements? How is your association?
If you talk about drones and UAV specifically, I'm working with Indian Army and DRDO. If you talk about rescue robotics, like there are incidents where disasters happen, building collapse, fire incidents, then that's a different chapter. Now for that I'm working with the state polices, with the NDRF, with SDRF, and also I train the NIA along with the DRDO. NCBRN, that is chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear attacks.
Now you seem to be everywhere. You seem to be doing quite a lot of things. Uh, so you're building ground robots and remote operated vehicles also. Is that
ROV, yes.
that those are what? Those are with the state police or with
It's with both of them.
It's
The
with
army
both
also
of
uses them and the police also. So there's a fine line difference between drones and ROVs. So drone is also unmanned, ROV is also unmanned. Both are the same thing, unmanned. But their purpose is different. The one is in the sky and the other is serving the ground. And now I'm coming up with another machine which I'll tell you.
You're coming up with what? You said?
Another kind of a machine which is a combination of ROV and a drone. So it can fly, it can run on the ground, and something like amphibian. It can go inside the water.
Oh, wow. So that's again a UAV.
Yeah, that's a UAV amphibian
So you're
machine.
delivering that, and so you're building that. Of course, eventually.
I've already deployed in the Mahakumbh Mela 2025.
Okay.
I was there. So I was there handling the drone chapter. So we were like day and night into this.
In fact, in your rescue robots pulled 14 people out of a collapsed building also in Lucknow. And this repeatedly been used to save lives. That's a different chapter from what you're doing with defense. How is that different, and what all are you doing in that space?
So that's a search and rescue, SAR. In short, we call it SAR, SAR. Search and rescue missions are of different nature. Like if there's a building collapse, let's take an example of the same thing. It was month of January in 2023. The building suddenly collapsed. That was also some earthquake jolts were felt during that time. And once the building collapsed, then you need to just use your brains to create a strategy how fast you can scoop the people out from the debris. And every second matters. And I tell you, like during that day when the building collapsed, I was first here before the news came in. I was observing a lot of ambulances coming here and there, and there was some kind of stress in the air, which you could sense. And then finally, I found out like probably in 5 to 10 minutes, some building collapse happened, and I was quite close to the site. I went there, and I analyzed, and I saw the entire, the huge, the building which was there, because I know the Alai apartment, it was turned into rubble. And people were literally trapped inside it, and you don't know whether they're alive or dead. All you can do is to give your best effort. Like I said, like you need to be consistent, not being the best. So what I did, I already, since I'm a techie, so for me, one thing is advantage that a major advantage I would say that I don't need to Google search things. I don't need to go to Chat GPT and find out this has happened. What should I do? That becomes confusing. I know how to connect the dots. So there are two kinds of doctors. Now one is a Vaid, jo nas pakad leta hai na. So I'm the Vaid one, right? So I'm not the Amphibious MD one. So I'm the Vaid one. I just So I connected the dots. I already have some things prepared for some other project, but I thought you can use this here. I took the permission, and luckily the state forces gave me the permission, and we started the mission. 14 human lives were saved. We worked day and night. I mean, it was around 4:30 in the morning when you first see the sunrise, that the purplish sky, right, and it started raining. So we didn't stop. We just worked on, and until 9:30 or 10.
So you've sent in your drones.
So I deployed
spot.
drones
Yeah.
to create an emergency pathway. I deployed thermal drones, and I also used rescue robotics. So there were different kind of capsules. We made some approach. Approach is basically a term we use for rescue operations to dig a hole. So we make some approaches. I put those capsules inside it. Those capsules were actually sensors that could just get you the audio. Even if somebody is breathing inside that debris, you can clearly hear that. And also we used
You were able to spot the people, and then of course go
yes, and those together that machine helped us to locate probably the exact pinpoint where the people are stuck. So we used to start digging that way.
So your search and rescue, their entire drone system and the defense drone system, are there also you sharing that technology between both these?
Yes, we do.
Of course, because it'll be used on both sides.
Yeah, remember that Mumbai terror attack?
Yeah.
Now, even if somebody thinks of doing anything even close to that, we have technology to just, I have no word for that, how aggressive our technology and defense system has become. that that era was completely different. But if somebody even thinks of doing something similar to Mumbai terror in our country, they'll be like chopped in a way the terrorists won't be able to imagine in their entire life. I mean, we have very, very strong robotics for defense.
Is there any gap that you see in India's military drone fleet that perhaps need to be filled even now?
As of now, there is no such gap. One thing which I would like to just mention is the act of responsibility. If you are serving the army, you are not serving something which is very common. It demands a lot of responsibility, especially in data security.
Right. Your FPV drones, and I was just they hit speeds of 60 to 125 kilometers per hour. More than that also. So what's the actual engineering trade-off that between speed and control that you do? I mean, there's a person in my team who's really interested in this, and he said that you must ask Milind this. So I'm here I am.
So FPV is first person view. So what is first person? Who is first person? The pilot. So suppose if you're flying that machine, you're the first person. You put on those goggles, and not necessarily goggles, you can also connect it to any display. FPV drones are smaller in size, they're very fast. If you see the Russia-Ukraine war, a lot of FPV drones were deployed to attack the tanks, to attack other drones.
The fact that you're based in Lucknow and not in Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, any special reason that you are continuing to operate out of Lucknow?
Yeah, there are actually. First, I need to prove that if you have the energy, if you have the will, right, nothing can stop you. This is a very common question that people ask me, like Lucknow make you aim, and sometimes people ask me, India make you aim. So ideally, I get offers from other countries also, but I swiftly decline them. Right, serving my
first.
nation first. If you see my LinkedIn profile, उसमें पहली चीज लिखी है एक हिंदुस्तानी. So nobody can buy me at any cost, right? So there's no price for me. So I'm not attracted by the lucrative offers. So this is what I breathe, and so yeah, that's it.
Okay, so I'm now going to just ask you some personal questions because we've discussed everything there is to discuss in terms of drones and defense and technology. Um, uh, is there what makes Milind Raj the person tick?
The attitude of not giving up and the approach of changing the mindset of the people to become a better and a stronger person towards a nation, and keeping them away from those manipulative approach which other nations are following against a country. That's a constant terror attack India is facing right now. Terrorism is not just about grenades and bombs, and that's a conventional thing. Even the new modern terrorism is far more dangerous. AI can do terrorism in a way no other weapon can harm you. So it's something non-lethal terrorism, right? You won't kill people. You're going to kill their minds. And once a human is killed by the mind, your mind is murdered. You're no more a wise human. And then you become a part which is far more dangerous.
What's the one crash or one failure that has taught you the most?
So way back in 2020, during the COVID time, a lot of restrictions were there, and suddenly one of my machine just fell into the river, and I was never able to find it. So it was like a loss for me, and it doesn't matter. That's something that can recover. The something which you really feel is about the time factor. I feel that I should have met Dr. Kalam even before. I think that would have helped me a lot, because now he's not with us anymore.
And what did you learn most from Dr. Kalam?
Right. It's one of his quote, dreams are not those which you see when you sleep. Rather, dreams are those which don't let you sleep. I have felt that, and I still feel that. I mean, even in my home, my parents say, "Ki, ab socho bhai, you're coming at 4 a.m., going again at 7 a.m." So even when you sleep, now before you sleep, you plan out on ये करना है. इतने लोगों की ज़िंदगी बदलनी है. I need to talk to these people, these students in colleges, in schools. I also involve a lot of students with me. So, see, career is the least complicated thing in life. It's just the right direction and right source of information. Right. So data misinformation and data lack of data information. Those two things I always try to keep the youth away from this. And I also run a social platform where people ask me questions on my personal messages, this message box. I meet probably 3 to 4 lakh people every year in different lectures and seminars, a lot of students. Probably it takes around 60 to 70 seconds to analyze one person in a very quick conversation ki iska direction kya hai, what the direction of his mindset is. And then you can tune it and reprogram it in a better way and constructive way rather than a destructive way.
My last question to you literally is going to be about your advice to youngsters today. There's a 20-year-old sitting in some Indian city wanting to build hardware, thinking he has to be in Silicon Valley. And this ties in just with what you said right now. So, your advice to that 20-year-old?
First of all, don't compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 20. Right? They have heard a lot. So you cannot reach to that success just in one go, in one shot. And let me tell you one thing about this. I always say to the youth. Again, I'll repeat the same sentence. Like, success is not about being the best, it's about being consistent. That one fine day you have to begin to reach to that level. And waiting will not help you reach that. And choose 5 people around you very carefully, because those 5 people together, like 20%, 20%, 20%, 20, make you 100%. Those 5 people are your 100%, and those 5 people, not specifically they could be humans, they could be the source of information, the source of energy you're getting. That thing can be your mobile phone also, how good you're using the information source. Could be your friends, could be your family. Those 5 people should be very carefully picked up, because that makes you 100. And also, like, India is actually a goat, greatest of all time. It is a country which immense potential. So talk to people who are actually proving themselves, right? So motivation might take you to some extreme temporary rush, but it will ultimately collapse. What will make you a better person, successful, is a consistency, small steps towards a bigger goal, and always think big. Even if somebody says that, there are a lot of people I come to, like, they say, "Okay, sir, I don't have the money. How can I even just think a big?" When you manifest that energy, right? Trust me, you get the opportunities, you get those path right before you. But you need to be consistent. There are a lot of times I was absolutely blank that क्या ये चीज़ यहाँ implement हो भी पाएगी. These questions used to come in my mind, but I eventually I used to talk to myself, do it. Begin somewhere. You have to start, else everything will remain in a fancy PPT and some fancy PDF. One fine day I'm just bringing out lectures. Even in my sessions I don't talk about कि ये हो जाएगा वो हो जाएगा, right? जो हुआ है वो इससे आप कहाँ पहुँच जाएंगे. So we must plan a longer vision. We must plan for, like, we will implement today and plan probably आज से 30 years के आगे क्या होगा.
It's been a pleasure, Milind, to talk to you. It's fascinating, and I hope the youngsters that you're meeting every day and the lakhs you meet every year are getting inspired and getting inspired by the India story more than anything else, because as I believe that the country is on a rise, and we all need to play our part in making sure that we reach the top.
Right.
so much.
Thank you. Pleasure. Yeah.